Welcome to the Transformative Neurotherapy Podcast with your host, Dr. Heather Putney, founder and executive director of Transformative Neurotherapy. This is the place where healing happens faster. Because let's face it, your brain doesn't come with an owner's manual until now. Here, we take a holistic approach to brain health, bringing together science, mind-body harmony, and the tools you need to optimize your well-being. Whether you're a high performer, executive, athlete, longevity hacker, or just someone tired of your brain working against you, Dr. Putney is here to help you unlock your full potential. From brain fog to chronic stress, we're covering it all so you can finally experience brain health, mind harmony, and total well-being. Ready to get unstuck? Let's get started.
Before anyone can confidently interpret brainwave patterns or guide neurotherapy sessions, there's a foundational skill set that determines accuracy, safety, and clinical effectiveness. And it all starts with proper EEG training. Welcome, everyone. I'm Dr. Heather Putney, founder and executive director of Transformative Neurotherapy, here in the studio today with Dr. Tiffany Thompson, founder and CEO of NeuroField Neurotherapy. Tiff, it's great to have you here with me today.
Good to be here. Yeah.
So I actually was trained by you and NeuroField, so I know intimately, the quality of training that you do over there. But I don't know about like all the other groups out there, but I do know that it's really, really important to know your stuff. And so why don't you tell me a little bit about what you guys do to prepare people, how you even decided to start this school that you run, and, how you help funnel out qualified EEG neurotherapists.
Once upon a time, I, like any budding neurotherapist, endeavored to jump in the field. And it was not easy. It took a lot of bushwhacking to find my way in the field of neurotherapy. As stumbling through, gained credentialing. The first was the board certification in neurofeedback, which is called BCIA certification. Comes through the Biofeedback Certification International Alliance, and then I started to work in neurology, and that's where I actually learned about raw EEG, and then I got something called a quantitative EEG diplomacy. But all the while, working with the odd mentor, never really had a lot of qualified mentorship from somebody who is in the same building as me, I'll just say. And so, I started the School of Neurotherapy because I thought that the bushwhacking that it took to get through the field for the new person was excessive and arduous. And what occurred to me as I gathered skills and knowledge was how much I didn't know, right? I mean, I was perpetually coming year after year saying, "Oh my God, I can't believe I didn't know that, last year." And so that phenomenon continues to happen, but it's not as the leaps aren't as big anymore, right? Like, all that said, the objective with the school was to, number one, synthesize and streamline information and quality education to individuals so that if they want to be in neurotherapy, they don't have to do the bushwhacking. They don't have to find out in year 5 that, this particular montage creates a bunch of false positives, for instance. Um, but then, maybe more importantly, and a little intimidatingly, the streamlining, the synthesization of all of the information that I wish that I had known when I was starting, like, that's one of the other objectives of what I'm up to. But I say intimidatingly, right? Because there's people like you, Heather, who jumped in, like, not so long ago. Time is relative, and just like zippity zip, like really, really qualified, fast clinician. And a tremendous amount. Far more, than I did when I was as far in as you. Right. So
I think that's thanks to you and your fantastic training that we've been talking about, though.
well, I mean, I won't shy away from that compliment, but regardless, point being, the whole the whole point of this, the biggest necessity in this field is for qualified clinicians. And there's actually a really wide gamut of expertise and competency in the field of neurotherapy. And it's one of the things that I find most challenging about our field. And it's one of my own sort of personal endeavors is to do my best to ensure that the field has really intelligent, qualified individuals talking about the most complicated thing in the known universe, right? What's coming out of our brains. So, yeah.
I want to take a different angle for a second. So imagine that I'm, a client interested in, neurotherapy. I've heard about it. I look up someone kind of in my area. How can I know, what should I be looking for to kind of know whether or not that person actually is qualified, or what are some of the risks that, might occur for someone trying to get good treatment, but maybe someone looks like they're really qualified, but they may not be. So what should people be looking for?
It's a great question. Yeah. So a simple question I think that people could ask any clinician who does neurotherapy or neurofeedback is, do you do ERP testing? I If you get a yes to that question, chances are really good that you've got a good clinician on your hands because it's an advanced modality. So that's the easiest one. Do you do event related potentials ERP testing? Um, Beyond that, then you're getting into a little bit of a Q&A back and forth. But some questions you could ask are, what kind of montages do you prefer to look at data in? And you wanna get anything other than linked ears to that question. If they say, "I like to look at linked ears," just go away because that's a false positive, it's contaminated with a lot of false positives, so that means they're looking at the data incorrectly. Can you read raw EEG, is another one, though, somebody might say yes when they can't. Who are your mentors? That's another good one. And then looking for, the QEEGD, I think is just a really important thing to do as well. And there's lots of qualified clinicians who don't have that, but you're guaranteed to have someone that at least knows how to read raw EEG if you have the QEEGD. So the pitfalls of walking into someone's clinic who maybe took a weekend course, more than anything, it's a waste of time and money. I don't think that most neurotherapy modalities can hurt an individual, but it's a waste of time and money for the client, and for us clinicians, it just is it's not good for our field. It's not good for the credibility of our field.
Right, because
Mhm.
the results won't be as efficient or as effective, and then and then you won't know,
That's
it doesn't reflect
right.
well on.
Yep. Exactly. Yeah.
So, to any, potential client or potential clinician wanting to get trained, what do what would you want to say about these essential, the trainings?
Most people need to begin by getting their hands dirty, and this is the toughest piece, right? If you're like, "I wanna do that as well," this neurotherapy stuff sounds neat. Let's say you're a mental health care practitioner and it fits right into your work and you happen to be kind of a neuroscientist in disguise already. To begin to get your hands dirty means you have to begin to gather EEGs, right? And that means you're either going to have to go it alone, and that can certainly happen. You can take a course. We teach something called a boot camp, then it teaches people how to do this from the ground up. Um, or have a consultation with somebody like you or like me online. But ideally, you could get started with a mentor who's in the same building as you or the same neighborhood as you. So that's one thing that I would recommend is finding someone nearby, someone who can hold your hand and guide you. But once you start getting your hands dirty and you start to gather data, then you need to, meet with somebody who can interpret the data alongside you, and it is a wash, rinse, repeat sort of process, and it takes a little bit of time for these squiggles to start to make sense, right? But then when they do, it's a whole world opens up to you, you know?
Absolutely. I remember getting started, it was just, I thought that I could come, like, learn how to collect the data really well, then I could just put it in the system and it would just, like, analyze it for me and spit it out, and then it would make sense, and I was, I shouldn't say disappointed, but I just had no idea how steep the learning curve was just to get started, because it's so much more than just being able to collect a good EEG. The interpretation just took a lot of time and a lot of mentoring to kind of get there,
Huh?
And there is no
Yeah.
shortcutting that.
There's not, and the difference that you've just discussed is the difference between the individual that takes a weekend-long course, wants to push the button and get a pretty map and say, "Here you go. This is good, this is bad," and unfortunately, the brain is just not that simple, and anybody who tells you otherwise, should not be sitting across from you, so
Well, thank you, Dr. Thompson. I recommend, if anybody is curious about this field, or they want to get some training, definitely check out the School of Neurotherapy through NeuroField, and they've got so many different options and programs to try to get started with really high quality mentors. So give them check them out if you're interested in this field. And thank you, Dr. Thompson, for your time today and helping us understand, how people get into this field and what to look for.
You've been listening to the Transformative Neurotherapy Podcast with Dr. Heather Putney. Remember, your brain isn't supposed to hold you back. It's supposed to power you forward. So stop letting it crash your party and start letting it do its job. If you're ready to optimize brain health, sharpen your focus, and age like a fine wine, schedule your free consultation today at transformativeneurotherapy.org or call us at 412-204-7397. Because here, healing happens faster. See you next time.